Sunday School teacher, I'm glad that you've joined us for our time of study. We've got 4 sessions that we're going to be doing in the book of Leviticus. Now, before you go running and screaming away and not pay attention, we've got 4 great lessons. I know that, I've heard people say, well, if you can't sleep at night, read the book of Leviticus. There's a lot of good things in the Leviticus. And so I would encourage you to spend some time in preparation as we get ready for these 4 studies. The title of this lesson is Set Before. And the theme of this lesson, the point is that God is pleased when His people show Him gratitude and devotion. The book of Leviticus deals with instructions for priest and worship. The last part of the book of Exodus dealt with the construction of a place of worship. Here's how you build the tabernacle. Maybe what we need to think about the book of Leviticus is Exodus dealt with the place of worship. Now Leviticus tells us how to worship. And so that's what we're going to be looking at in Leviticus. Now this session, we're going to be studying 3 of the 5 offerings that Moses established as part of the people's worship of the Lord. When offered with sincere hearts, these sacrifices, these offerings expressed outwardly the people's inward devotion and commitment to the Lord. So we're going to be looking at 3 outward expressions of an inward commitment. So let's look at the first one, which is called the burnt offering. And it is in Leviticus chapter 1, verses 3 through 9. And there it says, in this offering, if his offering is a burnt offering from the herd, he is to bring an unblemished male. He will bring it to the entrance of the tent meeting, the tabernacle, so that he may be accepted by the Lord. He is to lay his hand on the head of the burnt offering so it can be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him. He is to slaughter the bull before the Lord. Aaron's sons, the priest, are to present the blood and splatter it on the sides of the altar that is at the entrance of the tent meeting. Then he is to take the skin, skin the burnt offering and to cut it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priest, will prepare the fire on the altar and arrange the wood on the fire, and Aaron's sons, the priest, are to arrange the pieces, the head and the fat on top of the burning wood on the altar. The offer is to wash its entrails, its legs with water. Then the priest will burn all of it on the altar as a burnt offering, a fire offering of a pleasing aroma to the Lord. So here we've got the burnt offering, the sin offering. In these verses, the Lord revealed to Moses the requirement and procedures for presenting this burnt offering. God designed this sacrifice to atone for the worshipers' sins and thus to restore them into a right relationship with God. The entire animal, everything except its hide or its tail feathers. You can read all about that in other instructions, but we read the exception here of where it says to skin the animal, take the hide off. If it was a bird or fowl, you would burn everything but the tail feathers. Those would be used for something other than the burnt offering. But everything was to be consumed in the fire, and no one was to take anything away from the burnt offering. It was to be consumed 100%. There was to be an unblemished male, the best from the herd. That means that there's a sacrifice on part of the owner. This was to be a free will offering. You're not obligated, you're not required. If you don't do it, You're not made to. The Lord wants us to come to Him in our free will, not because we feel like we have to. Now, the placing of hands on the animal's head was the symbolic transfer of the